What's up, everybody? It's your boy Scotty P, and we're here for episode 13 of the Scotty P Breakdown. Thank you for everyone who's been tuning in. Today, I'm excited to bring you John Hansen. He was the 99 plus kilogram winner for the East Coast Trials, and he had 5 matches, 3 submissions, all really fast. And then the 2 that he won by points were astronomical. The first one was by 18 points, and then he won one by 34 points against a monster. So, dope performance. It seems like he's kind of going under the radar right now, but John Hansen is a straight up beast. So I'm excited to show you some of the moves. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want to show you is his first match. And in the very beginning of the match, you can tell that his opponent kind of misjudges how strong he is. And I think a lot of his opponents misjudge how strong he is and kind of regretted it. So he gets pulled into a butterfly guard. He casually tries to disengage, and he gets sat down really easy and ends up on bottom. Now, in jiu-jitsu, that's not always that bad. But when you're going against a literal freak like Mr. Hansen here, that's the last place you want to be, because this dude doesn't ever recover. He spends the full 6 minutes on bottom and gets 18 points scored on him. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to the points part, just so you can see how he racks these points up really quickly. But he essentially just shuts his opponent down the whole time. I want you to pay attention to his shin pummeling here. That's what really sticks out to me, is just super high level. He's a big guy, so this is a 99 plus kilogram. This is like over 220 pounds. I think it's like, over 220, 215 maybe. And he literally floats on all of his opponents. So look, he like threatens to get under the knee and turn his body, which forces their opponent to put their feet down, and then he just goes knee on belly and scores easy points. And he does this over and over again to multiple people. And once he gets a knee on belly and he scores the points, he goes back down, puts his knee back under the leg. The dude's got to put his leg down, and he immediately is going to use that to go back to knee on belly. And or mount. So they get a reset here. Gets bumped off mount. Takes advantage of it, goes right back to side control again, floats, doesn't get rolled over, doesn't get thrown off, doesn't let his opponent create any space. And then look how he's pushing his knee constantly, either in the hip or in the crook of that dude's knee, pretty much forcing him to choose where he's going to keep his leg at, which is his main defense of keeping him in front of him. Notice how he circled north-south, then goes back to the hip, goes knee on belly, scores points. I like how he constantly picks the knee up to readjust their hips. Picks the knee up and shoves it over so that he can clear his knee line. And look, he's going to do it again. This time he goes one knee on the shoulder and then switches the knees. Gets more points for knee on belly. Again, this is just like textbook top pressure game. Obviously we all want to see a submission, but this is what leads to submissions. Imagine having a 10-minute match with this dude, and he's putting you a knee on belly, putting his other side knee on your shoulder, crossing over to mount. And this is why you don't want to accept bottom position at ADCC, because there are freaks who have no problem holding you down in side control. Now look at that shin pummeling as he comes across to the far side. He goes right back to doing it again. Shin pummeling. Look how he's using those hooks to keep pressure on the back of his knees. And immediately jump. The dude does a good job of rolling, keeping him from getting that full back take. But Mr. Hansen here is just glued to him. And pretty much does this for the rest of the match. Now, this is a good match to have, as a first match. I mean, he went through the whole full 6 minutes. Doesn't really seem like he tried, super hard, in a sense that he didn't have to redline a whole lot, and pretty much worked like the best part of his game. So, great match for Mr. Hansen in the first round of the ADCC trials. Let's move on to the next one. So here, in the second match, he gets a wrist lock in right over a minute. And let me tell you, being wrist locked is one of the most infuriating things in the world, especially in submission grappling. Someone tried to wrist lock me last night, and I literally just made me turn it up to 10, and I got him in an ankle lock. Like, it just infuriates me. That's how I should start my matches. Is someone put me in a wrist lock, and then I use that anger to go out and whoop some ass. But the time before that, the dude literally yelled out "prison rules" and tried to put me in a wrist lock. Like, that's the level that wrist locks are at in the jiu-jitsu world. But there's always one infuriating knucklehead that just tries to wrist lock everybody. But this dude just puts himself in a bad position, and Mr. Hansen takes advantage of it. So, you always want to be very careful when your elbows start to get isolated when someone's on top of you, where they like pretty much shove your elbow in their hip so that you can't move it out. And that's exactly what happens here. He climbs to a high mount, and he starts messing with his hands here, probably looking to set up a Kimura grip so he can roll to the armbar. But what happens here is that dude's arm's stuck because his knee's behind it. So you can see he goes for that wrist lock. He can't clear it because his leg is so high. So you have to be careful of that. You want to do this to try to protect your throat and to make sure you don't get armbarred. But when the guy's that big and he can literally block off this whole side for you to try to pull out, it's a easy way to get a wrist lock. And I believe that's what happened. If you saw, it was kind of against the camera, so you can't really see exactly what goes on, but that's what it looks like. All right, so now we're going to match number 3. And these are my homies from the East Coast, Kevin Sasquatch Satterfield. He's a good dude. He had 2 sick knee bars coming up to this match. And Mr. Hansen here just shut him down and then pretty much ran the scoreboard up on him. And look at that easy takedown right there. Essentially pulled on the head and circled up. That's one of the benefits of being a really good athlete in the heavyweight division. Is if you can get up at super quick speeds, you can take advantage of a lot of these guys' weights, because once they've gotten on their knees, it can be hard for a bigger guy to get back up. And he took advantage of that and did it perfectly. Now look how he's doing that knee underneath his leg again. He's going to be doing this the whole match. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward it all the way to the 3-minute mark just so you can see how he racks up 34 points. And if you don't know, that is crazy. That is legitimately crazy. It's interesting we don't have any tech falls or, like stoppages if the points get ran up to a certain point. Because, not only it's not like points throughout the whole match, you can only start scoring points after the 3-minute mark. So that's a lot of points to score in 3 minutes. My boy David Porter's in the back there coaching Kevin. I mean, again, Kevin is a straight up savage, guys. They call him a Sasquatch. I've gone against him before. He almost broke my neck. He's huge. He's strong, unbelievably strong. And, that just tells you how good John Hansen is. So check it out. He's already got 2 points. He puts his knee on belly. He's going to get 2 more points for that. Look, he clears it. And you can see how he's aware of the scoreboard. Look, he drives that knee underneath his knee, then puts it right back on. Again, he's forcing his opponent to choose, because if you don't want to rack your leg on someone else's knee. So if they shove their knee underneath your leg like that, you're opening yourself up for a leg lock and for your body to be like contorted. Because if he's got your shoulders flat to the mat and then he rolls your hips over to one side, your spine's going to be twisted, which means you lose all your strength. And this means you're going to be stuck. So a lot of times you have to get your leg off their knee. And in order to do that, you pretty much got to put downward pressure on your leg, which means it's an easy knee on belly for him. Now, I would say if you're the bottom guy, is that you can't, who knows? This dude could be so big and so heavy that there's just no, like, shoving him off. But you really got to butt escape is what I would recommend. Is you got to plant both your legs to the ground. You got to butt escape. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. But you should be scooting your butt all over the mat trying to run from this dude. Because if you get him in a groove of going to knee on belly to side control to mount, you're just going to drain all your energy and give him all of it. So look, he's at 14 points. in 2 minutes, 16. And he's essentially just doing the same thing over and over. Like that dexterity of that shin pummel for a big guy, that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. Usually you see this kind of thing in the smaller weight classes where you see a lot of shin pummeling and gliding across the waist. You don't really see it that often in the heavyweight division because it's really easy to be pushed off or thrown off with like bigger guys. But Kevin is the biggest guy and John is still doing it. So again, straight up trip. Back to mount, head and arm. And his opponent only needs one mistake to get a knee bar. He literally messed 2 other dudes up with a savage knee bar from bottom, I think. Or both of them started from bottom at least. So you make one mistake, Kevin can change the whole game of the match. But he stays focused and just, again, racks the scoreboard up in 6 minutes. In a 6-minute match. Dope. Let's move on to the next one. I work on my shin pummels a lot too, so that's a very valuable skill, is shin pummeling side to side. All right, here, so we're in match 4, and this dude's being coached by Heath Padigo, and he's representing the CTA Academy, who had multiple athletes do really well throughout the trials, and you can just tell that this dude was probably not ready for how strong John is. Look at that 2-on-1 grip, wrestling up. It seems like his opponent's kind of like staying away from him a little bit. And Mr. Hansen here can essentially play bottom or wrestle up in a moment's notice. So he's definitely got a tricky guard. Look how flexible he is. Look at that lotus position that he's doing. I mean, I can't do that. My knees are pretty much pointing to the sky. So there's like a good little scramble here. And you see that hits the overhook, spins, keeps him in front of him. Mr. Hansen decides to go underneath, and now they stop it. All right, so look, let's go to the next. So they start in this butterfly position, almost like an X almost. Look at that sweep. I mean, money. I want to run it back just real quick. Look how he hooks that leg. So this can be called like a half guard or like a coyote guard. He takes that and then pushes on that far side leg to roll him all the way over. And then makes the dude make the mistake of giving up his back. See how he's got both knees to one side? Goes seatbelt. He's got that Kimura control underneath his back. Slides his hooks in, and the dude makes the mistake of standing up. The problem with that is when you try to stand up, you essentially commit both your hands to pick your. See, he puts both hands down on the ground. Mr. Hansen takes advantage of that and goes for a gnarly choke, and then is like super nice afterward. Make sure the dude is okay. Again, perfect example of an awesome human being. Warrior in the garden, humble warrior in the garden. All right, so let's move on to the last one. He wins the finals in 26 seconds with a straight arm bar, with a straight arm lock. Wild. Like, usually it's like by a leg lock or like a choke, but this dude makes a crucial mistake. He goes one arm in, one arm out on a pass, and Hansen just scoops up a head and arm and finishes with a straight arm lock. They get a reset. They end up changing their anklets. We'll go to the start. Goes to pass. The dude scoops up a head and arm. Finishes with a straight arm lock. I want to show you guys that again because I'm going to show you some crucial points here. That was messed up here. So look, this dude, he tries to move with his feet flat on the ground. All right, you got to at least have active toes when you decide to do that because his shin was flat to the leg. It made it really easy for Hansen to just throw his leg on that hip to catch him from moving. All right, so you have to be active because it's mainly he got caught because he didn't get over the top of that first leg, and Hansen threw it up in his armpit, and then threw the other leg on top. Like, well, he didn't even throw it over the arm because he posted that arm underneath his leg. So he had one arm in, one arm out. And again, he had that shin down, so Hansen just pulled him right to a head on. One more quick time because this sucker happened so fast. One arm in, one arm out. He just moved to the side too lazily. You got to be a little better than that. And Hansen made him pay. Yo, this was a sick run by John Hansen. I'm kind of excited to see what he's going to do in the division. Usually, like, it's hard for the ADCC trial winners to, like, really get a foothold at ADCC right off the bat because they have to go against one of the top seeds in the world. But, yeah, I think Mr. Hansen here can make some upsets for sure. He doesn't look like a freak. He doesn't have, like, all the abs and everything. And, like, he's not, like, shredded or diced. But he looks like he's, like, got that Iron Man strength, that, like, caveman strength where he's just grabbing people's wrists and they're like, oh shit. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. This one's for the big boys out there. You know, you gotta be too something to do something. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit like and subscribe if you liked what you see. I'll catch you guys next time.